Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. Welcome to At the End of the Profound Life Experience. I'm Matt, sitting here as always with Sebastian and Mike. Gentlemen, what's going on? Seb, you're starting to remind me of a relative of yours today.
It's that
Just
time.
seeing you.
It's that
You got
time of
some-
the year, baby.
You're a better man than me. I can't do it. So
Well, I have a very personal connection to Movember, so with my father
absolutely,
and
right?
his difficulties, so that's what
Yeah.
I'm kind of trying
for
to
you.
represent. Yeah, it's hideous. I will
You're a
tell
sexy
you, I
man.
look horrible with a mustache. Horrible.
I will tell you that too.
No, I
But-
disagree. I don't think you do. I don't think you look horrible. It's different. It's something we never see it on you. It's a nice change.
This is 11 days. I was clean shaven on the morning of the 1st of November, and this is
Look at
11
that.
days. So
You should get
Okay.
the twirlies on the side. You should just let her go and start being that guy.
Oh,
No?
You know what?
You know what? Yeah, I agree with Mike. Let's do that.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
And Matt can make
Let's
fun of
get
you
the
and I
whole
will not.
greasy 1920s villain thing down for you. And I don't know, maybe you can reenact our beloved Stan Marsh scale of enjoyment in a couple of weeks for us. I mean, you'll have that full bushy thing going on, and you can just show us how it does.
I will tie her to the tracks of the train. I tell you what.
Yeah, see?
See, the plan's
Get
working.
you.
Oh wow, you were mixing character references all over the place, but that's okay.
I
It's
just-
fine. It's Saturday morning. Seb, you did okay. So
Mac is speechless at my impersonations of various cliche heroes, villains of the
I mean,
past.
on the upside, we will not have to worry about losing Seb to a comedy tour.
Well,
So that's probably not going to happen.
to be fair,
Seb,
we should probably warn everybody that if this cuts out at some point, there's windstorm warnings in effect in the Lower Mainland. So
And up in the mountains
Good.
too. It's windy
Yeah.
as shit here. So it's
I'm okay here, but
Yeah, no, it's I'm
So-
good now.
so far,
Last
so
night we
good.
lost power for a little while. It's nice and calm out there. I just got back, so we're good. We're solid. We should be fine. Now that I said that, I don't know. One of the children
Murphy's
will
Law.
feel like,
Everything's fine.
It'll be
This
the
guy.
Mike and Seb show, and that's the way it is.
Yeah.
Um,
Sure.
So I did a thing on Monday.
Did you?
Well, it was I
Tell
got
us.
I got extra vaccinated. I got my flu shot, and then I'm like, fuck it, I'm gonna get my COVID shot too. So I got two at the same time.
In both arms. My sister got the same thing. They did them in both arms at the same time to her.
I got it in both in the same arm, and I hadn't felt that shitty like come Monday night in a long time. Like I felt like I was hit
Makes
by
sense.
like a freight train. So I stayed home from work on Tuesday, and that's when I watched what we're talking about, and I watched a couple other movies as well. And like I was on the couch for like 10 hours. I was so sore from sitting on the couch. I just I felt, but whatever.
Well,
it's
your
fine
arms
now.
are going to be sore, and then you're basically ingesting two different viruses into your body,
Right.
so you're going to be somewhat sick because your
Yes.
body has to adjust. Like it's a easier, for lack of better words, an easier version of the virus, basically.
Oh,
But
absolutely.
it's
So I can create some antibodies, blah blah
Yes.
blah. And like my skin was crawling. It was a headache that killed me. The headache was so bad.
oh yeah.
Oh man, it was gnarly. But I'm pickled, so I'm not going to get
Good.
sick.
Good for you.
I guess.
I have mine waiting. I've got a couple of notifications. I haven't gone and done it yet. However, I was also spent 2 days on the couch because I had the flu. I went to work Wednesday morning. I was feeling a little queasy. I'm like, maybe I don't know. Maybe I just whatever. It's not a big deal. It wouldn't be the first time I've gone feeling a little queasy, and then it's just sort of it settled itself out as I filled my belly, and it did not. I'm driving around in an enclosed forklift, driving
Oh no.
what I call death around the yard for about an hour and a half, and nearly threw up inside the forklift a couple of times. So once I had finished loading that truck, I told my one buddy that was there, is like, I'm going the fuck home.
Oh, that's
Just-
brutal.
Our company has a new payroll tracking system that is administered in the US, and the US rules are different. So they
Oh.
gave us Friday off this time, which is really going to fuck around with some people because a lot of people are expecting shipments Friday that they're didn't get, and they won't be open Monday for us to make up for it. So that should be fun.
Good times.
But I went
Yeah.
the fuck home and I spent
'Cause in
2 days on the couch.
Wow.
Yeah,
Well,
it was
I have not been sick.
No, that's good. Stomach bugs are like, I'll take the body flu or anything like that all day long over a stomach bug. I don't like
Yeah, it
bringing
was
up my
it was
lunch, dinner,
it
and
was
all
not
that.
it was not pleasant. That's unless something is involuntarily coming out of me, I'm going to stay at work.
Well, are you guys
I
feeling
think
better?
Seb,
Oh, I'm fine.
yeah,
Are you guys feeling better?
You know,
Yeah.
on like late Friday night or early yesterday or late Thursday night or early yesterday morning, I felt okay. I was able to eat dinner. I ate dinner late Thursday night, but it stayed where it was supposed to stay. Seb, I do have a theory as to why you're not sick.
Because he has a mustache.
That's exactly it. He's got a filter.
He's got the filter.
I knew
He's
that was
got a
going.
filter. He's got a
Right.
filter
Well,
strainer there. So
I
you know what?
mean,
Good for you. Movember may have just saved you.
the proof is in the results. The
Absolutely.
results do not lie.
So,
That's
Just
correct.
kidding.
so speaking of the title of this episode, I watched another movie. I don't want to get too deep into it, but I'd never seen
Right.
it before. But it came out a long time ago, and it was a Stanley Kubrick movie, and it's always sort of been there waiting. I'm like, yeah, okay, I like The Shining and whatever, and Clockwork Orange, blah blah blah. But I watched a 2001: A Space Odyssey.
So good.
Okay.
I was sick, and in all fairness, I fell asleep twice because I
Mhm.
just wasn't feeling good. But the parts that I did see, it blew my mind.
Yeah, it's so good.
Oh my god! Like I tried watching it last night again. There's a whole bunch of shit I missed. Watched it with
That
a wife,
happens when you fall asleep. Yeah.
right? And then so I look over. Okay, she's asleep. Damn it! So I pause it. I'm like, okay. I woke up like, we'll try this again when we're not tired, because from everything, because I caught lots of stuff. Like the beginning really put me out with the monkeys and the shit in space.
Mhm.
It was just like, oh, okay. It's like, oh fuck, okay, I'm still here and nothing's happening. But man, like I can't get it out of my mind. Like it's just,
It stays with you, right? And it's like,
it's how like cameras were positioned,
yeah,
and knowing this is 1968, and this
Mhm.
like I never read any reviews from back in the day to see what people thought of it, but God, it just, there's something about it, the music, everything. It's just
the tone of the movie. It's like
it's
the
the tone
Kubrick
in it.
tone. Yeah.
Yeah, and like in the crazy chanting in the background throughout the whole movie, and just all the stuff, the obelisk, and all the things, and it's like it set the table for every sci-fi movie the three of us have ever watched. Right? There's tons of Star Wars looking shit in there, and I don't know.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's like the monolith is just this ominous entity that just shows up in, I think it's 4 pinnacle moments of human civilization. It's just there for when humans discover something.
Yeah.
So it's like an alien presence that, like, I think the movie was so far ahead of its time that people didn't understand it when it came out.
Oh, for
It
sure.
was just like, I don't get it. It's slow. It doesn't make sense. But it's not about it's about the overall tone that it gives you when you watch it. Like it's for lack of better words, it's hugely ominous, the
Yes.
movie.
Yes.
So you don't know what you're watching. You're just watching, and you just can't stop watching.
No, it's bananas. Like it's
Yeah.
seriously stuck. Like I can't get a lot of the images out of my head. It's crazy.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
did see that a while ago. So I do have a note about Kubriak later, but I mean
Kubrick.
Listen,
Kubiak's the guy
he's
from
not good
Parker
with
Lewis
names. It's
Can't
okay.
Lose.
how long have you known me? I cannot
Seriously.
pronounce words properly. Just,
Yeah, I know. You're still working on your English. That's fine. So am I.
It's not my native
It's
tongue.
no, it's not. He's
Yeah.
ESL, so it's fine. Like, and then that's why when he messes things up, I don't even blink anymore. I'm just like, yeah, okay, just keep on. Just
Funny
speak
known
fluent
fact that
Seb.
English was the third language I learned. So Polish was the first, German was the second. I don't remember any German at this point in my life, and then English I learned like really late. It was like 7 or 8, I guess. So
there you go.
yeah.
And you've come through without an accent too, so that's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
I also watched a different movie. I watched it last night, and it was specifically because I've had a podcast queued up about it for months at this point, and I'm like, you know what, we're gonna get to this tonight because we've been hammering through some other TV shows. I watched Fast 10.
Oh
Is
yeah.
it good? Is
They've
it
lost the
insane?
plot, son. They are
Oh,
just
yeah.
fucking out there. Jason Momoa, fantastic job. He is the closest thing, honest to God, paint his face, he'd have been a perfect Joker. Absolutely perfect mayhem Joker.
I have heard that
Holy
he
fuck.
absolutely nails the character. Jason Momoa is the best part of
It's-
the movie.
he absolutely is. I don't know if he nails the character, but he nails the Joker, especially since he's like in a purple car and a purple suit at one point, which is just, it was fantastic. Jason. However, I don't think Vin Diesel knows what a car does.
I don't think the writers or
'Cause
directors know.
He died conservatively 73 times in that movie. If you want to look at how a car would actually behave and what would happen to a person if they were in this car, conservatively 73 times.
Don't you think at this point it's kind of like they're doing it to see how absurd they can make the car situations in Fast? Like they've gone past the reality aspect of it and just go, let's just see how wild we can do
They
it.
hit their Moonraker moment last in Fast 9 when they
Moonraker.
sent him to space. Like,
Oh, they
I'm not
actually
even
went to-
I'm not
they've
even
been to
watching.
space?
Like, I
That's
think the
amazing.
coolness factor stopped at about 6 or 7. 5 is by far the best one, far and above. But
I've only
the coolness
watched
factor
the
just
first
stopped, and now
3.
they're just like 70s Bond bullshit
Oh,
right
God.
now. Like they had their Moonraker moment, and this is just nuts. However, we're 12 minutes into this, and we have yet to talk a word about the movie we are actually supposed to be talking about.
Let's do it.
So that being said, David Fincher directing Michael Douglas, Sean Penn, and Deborah Kara Unger in this one. Obviously, Douglas and Penn, huge names in Hollywood. You really see this is. I know Sean Penn. I was looking at his whole career path here, and it was, you could see the greatness there, but it wasn't as consistent. This, you see the flashes of his soon to be greatness, or
Well, especially in
I
this
guess
movie.
widely acknowledged greatness.
Yeah,
Might
he's
be a
not
better way to say it.
acknowledged as great yet in this one either, and he's
highlight.
arguably absolutely. He's not on the screen enough. He wasn't in the movie enough.
Exactly.
Right.
So released September 12th, 1997. Had a budget of $50 million, and it only made 109 worldwide.
Yeah, it didn't do very well in the theater.
Well, I think I
Here's
think the theory is you can't market this movie too hard. You can't show enough trailers.
No.
Because if
you
do,
don't want to give
ruin it,
anything
and I
away.
think that hurt.
Yeah.
No.
Are we
think-
doing this without spoiling the ending, the very ending? I think we
Sure.
should. I think we don't.
I
I don't think
we
we.
could try, but I mean, if anybody's actually watching this or listening to this, you hopefully read the show description where I flat out say, do not listen to this show if you plan on watching the movie later, because we are gonna ruin shit.
Yeah, let's just talk about it right now. Like if you're watching this podcast and you haven't seen the game, watch the game first before you listen to this podcast, because it's
We're
a
gonna ruin it
phenomenal
for you.
movie. Sorry.
We're gonna ruin it.
Yeah, we're
Like,
gonna.
there's no ifs, ands, or buts. We're gonna ruin it because it. I don't know. Fight Club has the line in it that applies better to this movie: is you don't talk about the game.
No,
It's
you can
time to
talk
play
more
the
about Fight
game.
Club than you can about the game, right? It's
Absolutely.
yeah.
So this one came out, as far as David Fincher is concerned, this was between Seven and Fight Club. He was on a fairly consistent every 2 years. He gets a feature film out, and there's just a slew of music videos in between, which is really fun to go back and look at the videos he's done. Maybe we'll pull some of those down the road and do a show on his music videos as well.
Sure.
I did.
If you're listening to this and wonder where you can find this in Canada, you can just punch it into. I put it in Shaw. I believe the Stars is through
it's on-
Crave.
You can
so if
also
have
get Stars, I believe, through Prime, so you can get it through
that
either,
might be
either or.
that might be how I found it. It's on the Stars, so it might be Crave, it might be Prime. I'm not sure. I just punched it into my remote. In fact, I have one of them fancy remotes you get to talk to. So I just
Same.
said, let's see how this works out. And I said the game, and it came up with the correct movie. I'm like, it's gonna. I'm
Tell
gonna
me,
get it.
tell
means
me
I'm
you
gonna get
said
a
it.
shit ton
Tell me you
of-
said it in a Lemmy voice, because I did. I went the game.
No, I did not. But I will probably say Motorhead more than one time in this. Yeah, I mean, really, as the title of this episode says, it's a profound life experience. You guys want to watch the trailer real quick?
Sure.
Sure.
I've never seen it.
Did you guys get Seven vibes out of this
Well,
movie?
it's very Finchery, right? So
Very,
I will
yeah.
explain that in a second after the trailer.
Sure, please.
Yeah.
What do you get for the man who has everything? Everything.
Happy birthday, sir.
Thank you, Maggie.
I don't like her. So what brings you to town, Conrad? Everything all right? October 12th. Nikki's birthday. This is for you. Consumer Recreation Services. Call that number. Why? They make your life fun. What are you selling?
It's a game,
Game.
specifically tailored for each participant.
John, chapter 9.
Yeah, that part's very Seven-like.
Whereas once I was
Mhm.
realized,
Now I can see. Now I can see.
one day your game begins. You either love it or hate it.
Are you going to spend the rest of the evening prying at that clown's mouth?
Mr. Van Orton, is everything all right?
Ah, Mr. Van Orton.
Have we met?
I believe so.
Why are you following me? Find out about a company called Consumer Recreation Services. They won't stop, Nick.
He's in on it.
I paid the bill. I paid him more to make it stop. I need the police. You're gonna break into my house. I need toys with a bunch of depraved children. They're trying to kill me. Who's behind this? Who did this to me? Why?
This is all the game.
Right now, I am extremely dangerous. You're behind the whole thing, aren't you? No! They make your life fun.
Shout out to Deborah Unger for being born in Vancouver,
yeah.
BC. Let's go.
Hell yeah.
It definitely does
Yeah.
have Seven vibes, and I think like the definite Fincher style is very iconic to him. Like he does a lot of like quick cuts to like different scenes. So there'll be like a car driving by, and then somebody walking out of a hotel, and then back to somebody across the street. But he plays a lot in silence. And I did have a note here about like just the sound design of like the specific little elements of like water splashing on your face. Like it's so impactful because he works a lot in silence, and then when he does put music in or specific sounds, it's very impactful, but it's all subtle. So he's definitely got a style of like making you focus in on like a particular moment that you're watching. So yeah, he's one of my favorite directors ever, to be honest with you. Like I've loved every movie that he's done.
Yeah, well, he does.
I've missed a few, but
Yeah.
too.
yeah, I can't say I've watched one where I've gone, what the fuck is this? So I watched it yesterday because I was sick for 2 days. So why wouldn't I wait to the last minute and do
Absolutely.
it? I feel better, right?
Absolutely.
Seb, you
I
watched
started
3
it
months
last.
ago, and then you had to restart it for this. So how'd you squeeze this one in?
I started it last night when I got home because I knew I wasn't going to be able to watch it this morning, and then I watched it this morning. I actually finished watching it about
And
25 minutes ago.
to be fair, you texted me at like 6:00 in the morning asking if I had power. So you totally had time this morning to watch it.
Yeah, well, the problem is my Crave wasn't working on my tablet, so when I was making breakfast, I wasn't able to watch it, so I had to wait till
Mhm.
after I made breakfast. But yeah, I squeezed it in this morning, so it's pretty fresh in my mind.
Right.
Yeah, it's I did have a note though, like when I was watching it, imagine what Stanley Kubrick would have done with this movie. Like I
Yeah.
literally was thinking that
Yeah.
almost the whole way through. I'm like, what if Kubrick did this movie? Like how Kubrick? Kubrick.
You'll get there. You'll get.
Can we
see,
just call him Stanley? I'm just going to call him.
We'll just
Stan-
call
we're
him Stan.
Stanley.
We'll just call him Stan, so we'll know what you're
There you
talking
go.
about. Stan.
Imagine if he did the movie, like it would have been totally different. I think it would have been. I would have got like a lot of Eyes Wide Shut vibes from this movie if he did it. I think.
Sure.
Because
That's not enough nudity for that.
yeah, it's true. Well,
But, no, I get where
you
you're
would
going
have
with
seen
that,
the
for
one
sure.
scene and then that where they frame him for having sex with Christine,
Yeah.
I guess. So that
Absolutely.
that would have
I-
been seen on a Stanley
I would have
movie.
tuned in for that. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me too.
I think Deborah Unger is somehow has fallen by the wayside. I looked her up. She's a lot of voice acting, a lot of B movie stuff, a lot of TV show stuff.
Yeah.
But this seems to be her largest credit.
No,
Mike,
Payback
when-
was pretty good too. She did Payback.
Oh yeah,
with,
Payback. She did have that. So she had a
Ben
couple
Affleck.
in there.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't see why she didn't get bigger. But you know what? Sometimes it's behind the scenes
Oh,
stuff that we don't understand,
Well,
right?
There's that.
Um,
It could be movie choices too. Like the game didn't do very well. Crash was weird. It was a Cronenberg movie, so maybe she got typecast into these sort of on the edge, sort of thriller type.
Oh, she's the pretty girl in the weird movie sort of
Yes.
thing.
Kind of,
Okay.
yeah, right? Maybe.
Yeah, it's possible.
Mike, when did you squeeze this one in?
I watched it Tuesday morning.
Right.
I watched Evil Dead Rise first because I thought it would just
Good choice.
It'd be a palate cleanser because I thought it was going to be funny, but it wasn't. But it wasn't. I don't know. It was. I don't know. It was fine. It wasn't as good as the other remake they did, like whenever that was.
Or Evil Dead Rise. Yeah. I heard
Yeah,
it's like really gory.
No,
No.
it is, but it's Evil Dead gore. I don't know. It's
So was the
Okay.
other one more gorier than this
yes.
one?
Oh,
Yeah,
big
okay.
time. Oh,
Okay.
big time. Because this one didn't know if it wanted to be funny or it wanted to be serious. Because there's a lot of there was obviously the obvious callbacks. You know, the chainsaw, the come get some.
You got to have a chainsaw. in
swallow
that
your
movie,
soul,
come on
all
now.
that stuff. But there's tons of Easter eggs. So I won't ruin any of them if you guys ever watch it. But
I'm going to watch it soon.
you should. It's entertaining, but it's not in a cabin, so it kind of pissed me off. But whatever.
All right.
But the mom.
yeah.
Anyways, back to
Back to the
what
game.
we're
So
talking about.
Like I said, I squeezed this one in yesterday. I had a plan. My wife was looking at when you're done your tasks for the day, you can go kind of a Friday. So I kind of held it off and I held it off. I went out, I did some errands, came back, and lo and behold, we had a visitor in the house. Our youngest Izzy had shown up
Oh,
for the
cool.
weekend. So I says to Izzy, I'm going to give mom about a couple hours here to finish up work, but I got to watch this movie and I'd like to do it before, we start having to run around and do dinner and get Jordan to work and all that. Do you want to watch a movie with me? Very reminiscent of a few weeks ago when I had to watch Seven. Say, well, what's it about? I'm like, well, it's Michael Douglas. It's the same guy that did Seven. It's Sean Penn. It's called The Game. What's it about? A game.
Yeah,
Tell
you
you
can't
anymore.
really say
Is there-
more than that. You can't
There's
really
no
say
point
yeah.
That's all I said to her. And she said, but I'm like, if I say anything else, it's going to ruin it for you.
Yeah.
So I got to a point. I was like, okay, I'm going to start this. I should have started about a half hour early because it got hard taking notes as the sun was going down. And I wasn't about to lighten up the room for it because it gets really good towards the end, and it's Fincher, so it's dark.
Mhm.
I didn't want to ruin the ambiance. And so I invited both the kids that were home upstairs. The oldest of the children that was home decided to not her loss, but Izzy sat and watched another Fincher movie with me. And at this point, Izzy's stance is, I'm not even asking questions. If he's sitting down watching a movie for the podcast, I'm sitting down and watching a movie for the podcast. Because this one
She enjoyed it?
just blew her fucking mind.
Yeah.
And having seen it before, the end, actually, it's not even that. The whole movie is like an overly tightened twist tie. It's just twist after twist after twist after twist after twist after twist after twist. And just when you think it's untwisted, nope.
No.
But like as you start watching, like you get further along in the movie, your mind is constantly probing and trying to decide if any human being that he interacts with is part of the game or not.
Right.
And you're constantly asking yourself, is this the game or is this not the game? This is the game, right? This is part of the game.
well,
This isn't part of the game.
I mean,
She's part of the game.
that's-
No, she's not part of the game. He's part of the
that's
game.
the
No,
thing,
he's
though.
not part of the game. The whole movie, and it intensifies as it rolls through the movie. So
That's
it's
the
just,
brilliance of it because
Yeah.
he's doing the same thing.
Yeah, you're
right?
with him the whole
You were
way.
exactly. You were step by step. It's like, okay, it's whatever. It's like, oh fuck, this can't be a game. This is fucked.
Yeah. This is definitely not a game.
I want to make mention of three of the extra actors in there. So James Rebhorn, I think he's Jim Feingold in this movie. So he's the guy that sets it up. He's one of these guys that's in so much shit.
Yes, he
He's
is.
in everything.
And
you just see him pop up in so many.
According
movies.
to his IMDb, would either one of you care to guess the number of acting credits he has?
147.
Well, I'm looking at it, so I'm not going to answer.
Oh fuck! So Seb, you're actually really close. It's 131.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Like a stab in the
It's
dark.
131. So it's not nearly as many as I had thought, but you have to remember some of these are also TV credits. So he's on
Got
multiple.
a lot of
episodes.
TV stuff.
Also, Tommy Flanagan, Chibs from Sons of Anarchy, is one of the background players in there as well.
Yeah.
It's one of those blink and you miss it things. But our pal from Seven, the FBI agent in Seven, the CIA agent in Seven, whatever he was that gets the book list for him. He was also in
Yes.
this. He was the private detective
That's right.
that was tailing him after the hotel scene.
Yeah, I was wondering why he looked so familiar for a second.
Yep.
I was like, I know this guy. Who's this guy?
Also
Yeah.
from Sons of Anarchy. You don't recognize him because he's got his natural hair color and it's shortcut, and so's his beard, and it's all nice and trimmed. Whereas we know him from Sons of Anarchy with the big, long, gray, wavy hair and the big beard as Bobby.
Yeah.
So Fincher going back to the well there, picking up a solid character actor for us.
And I think that's a sign of a well-respected director is that they have a book of actors that they can call upon for each of their movies, right? So if you notice, like there's a lot of people that show up repeatedly in Fincher movies and like in James Cameron movies and other great like Tarantino uses a lot of the same actors.
Oh, go look at any John Wayne
Yeah.
movie. It's the same cast. It's almost like an anthology series. Like it's.
But he
So,
uses
I mean,
he uses the right, like they may or may not use actors they've worked before, but he's gonna do the right choice for that character. Tarantino and Fincher and whatnot. So did you guys notice how many variations of CRS come up in the movie?
Mhm.
It was, it
So,
was
like,
everywhere. Yeah.
It's everywhere. Like the
Yeah.
van, the cable repair
Cable
services.
TV one. Yeah.
Yeah, there's guy in the cab, which is I can't remember what it says. Is like California something
Yeah.
Yep.
service. So it shows up all the time throughout the whole movie. It's just these little Easter eggs that you see. So
What do you-
Speaking
what
of
do you guys-
cool things, do you blink and you might miss it? In the airport scene, when he's sitting there and his pen leaks,
Yes.
did you catch the problem in that scene?
Clearly not.
They
there's a
flubbed the
CRS.
shirt. It's a light blue shirt that leaks when he's sitting there, and the guy sort of taps his thing. When he goes to the bathroom, it's a beigeish checked pattern.
I never
And
saw
when he
that.
pulls back in the close-up, it's a beigeish check pattern. When he pulls back from the scene, he's wearing the proper suit again. So the close-up is a completely different shirt. Later in the movie, I think it's in the hotel scene, they show that shirt again with the stain on it, but it's blue.
That's a
It's a light blue
continuity
instead of a
error
brown.
from
It's a
the
massive, which it stood out to me because Fincher doesn't usually do
Yeah.
that. And I mean, this is early in his film career, so I could imagine that he was sitting in the editing room or he's seeing the cut and he's like,
son
"What
of
the
a
fuck?" And
He
it's
probably
way
fired his
too late
continuity
to go
team right
back
after that.
and-
Yeah, right.
yeah, and it's way too late to go back and do anything about it because it's like deep in editing. But it's 3 different shirts for the exact same leaky pen problem.
Interesting. No, I never noticed that, but I was in a bit of a
Well, they
Days,
do the
Dave.
close up of the shirt and it's got his initials on it as well.
yes.
And I don't remember seeing his. I mean, it might have been covered by the jacket though, but I don't ever remember seeing his initials on there until it was a close up of his shirt.
Yeah, but it's got that
So-
striped check pattern and it's
Yeah.
beige in the first close up. It's blue in the hotel room close up where you see the stain on it, but it's a solid color blue shirt in the wide shots. And I'm like, that's a rare for Fincher. If I were to, I'd put money that's probably the only flub you're going to find in a Fincher film because he's very much attention to details guy,
Meticulous, yeah.
much like our buddy Christopher Nolan is.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, no, I'm not fucking around here. This is not a Sam Raimi film where we're gonna have a ripped up ass crack in a monster suit. This is business. We're doing this properly.
Yeah.
And I could just imagine seeing that and being in the room with him. He's like, what the fuck? I mean, I don't know if he'd go off, but he'd be like, it's and there's nothing we can fuck it. Just fucking go with it. God damn it.
Well, I think too, there's so much going on. You know, your mind, like Seb said, you're probing for all these things. What's real? What's not real? A lot of people probably aren't going to pick that up, really, except for the brilliant mind of yourself, of course, and making us feel, you know, like lesser human beings right now. But that's okay.
I don't know if it's the brilliant mind or you know, I'm somewhere on the spectrum, which is probably I was probably a little distracted and whatever,
Sure.
but
yeah, whatever.
it was just one of those things that I'm like, wait a minute. And it's probably the first time I've seen this movie 10 or 12 times, and you know, this is the first time in probably 20 years I've watched it.
Yeah,
but I don't think I've ever picked
It
up on
still
that
holds
before.
up too.
It does.
The movie still holds up.
Michael Douglas he was brilliant. Like he was like the beginning
good.
was he's playing, you know, a character he knows, like his Wall Street, the American president kind of character, like very prim and proper, and he's very good at doing that. Like he's captivating. Like you can't take your eyes off him when he is delivering his lines, doing his thing. I just loved how they framed in the shadow of his dad all around him all the time for the first third of the movie, when he can't get out of that shadow, you know, in the birthday thing. And
now,
well, hold on. Let me go further on what Mike was saying here with Michael Douglas performing. They never tell you what he's like. They just show you through his conversation and how he converses exactly his character, his sense of pride and the sense of ego. You know, when he gets rejected, quote unquote, from CRS, what does he do? He calls Conrad and he says, "I'm not going to do it."
Yeah.
He won't tell him that he applied and got rejected because his pride is too high. He lies flat out to his brother and says, "I'm not going to do it. I don't want to do it."
Right. Exactly.
Right. So like that was a very pivotal character building moment, right?
Sure.
And no one has to tell you what this person is like. His characters develop through how people are reacting to him. You know, oh, by the way, happy birthday. And then his secretary is like, "That will be all. Like, you can go away now." To his
I don't like
assistant.
her.
Yeah. And it's just like, what? You don't like her because she said happy birthday to you, right? But it's just like he wants this portrayal of a person, but he's so broken on the inside that any highlight of his brokenness is immediately like whisked away and shielded by how he reacts in just his conversation. He's unwilling to go into the vulnerability of his past that he needs to go to properly heal his soul, basically. That's very profound what I just said there, but
but you're absolutely right though. It's that's you're speaking the truth, my friend.
And then like it's essentially a movie about healing his soul, you know. So
I mean, the game's supposed to fill in something what is missing. So I wanted to talk about his dad for a minute there. Initially, when I first saw it, I thought that was Kirk Douglas.
Same. It looked exactly like it, but like a younger version of Michael Douglas. No.
Do you know? Have you looked up who it actually was?
No.
It's a man by the name of Charles Martinet. He is most famous for doing voiceover work, and his character includes Mario, Luigi, Wario, Waluigi, Baby Mario, Baby Luigi.
That's hilarious.
He's the guy that did the voices for Nintendo.
Really?
And he just retired, I believe, didn't he? From Mario. I think he's done now.
Yep, they've pulled the plug on him. Or he's, you know, decided that it's time for him to get on the boat and go sailing.
Well, he's old, so yeah, right.
Well, I mean that works right into one of the character lines in the game. So he's go sailing. Go sailing.
Go sailing.
Right? So I did have a chuckle at one scene in particular. Now it made me wonder what the movies that Michael Douglas bookended this with, and it wasn't what I thought. In the elevator scene when they're trying to escape, Christine says, "You got to go first," and he's like, "No, it makes no sense. I'll boost you up." He's like, "No, you go up and you pull me up." How does that make any sense? I'm not wearing any underwear. And I immediately thought, Well, it's not the first time Michael Douglas caught a cooter shot in a movie.
That's true. One of his most infamous movies, actually. So
Yeah.
Right, one of his best movies.
Yeah.
However,
Sharon
I made me
Stone's
wonder
best movie.
what did Michael Douglas bookend this with? Any guesses?
I could look it up, but I won't.
Wasn't Basic
it's,
Instinct
it was
like around 95 or something?
this came out in 97, so it was Ghost in the Darkness was before this, and
Oh,
right
with Val
after
Kilmer.
that was a Perfect Murder.
Okay.
So following that track, I was like, well, what'd Sean Penn do around this?
U-Turn, baby.
Sean Penn did this between U-Turn and something called Hugo Pool, which I've never heard of. But Sean Penn also had 5 movies released in 1997.
Yeah.
Jeez.
5 movies. He was
a bit-
working his ass off.
Yeah. Well, I think he was still trying to get back to the mainstream, right? Like after, Fast Times and all that, there's kind of the Madonna thing. Then the 90s, kind of Sean Penn was like, okay, it's the 90s. No, Sean Penn, you're old news. So I think he was trying real hard to get back. And then, a few years later, he started doing all the stuff that we really know him for.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you did mention it at the beginning, but like Sean Penn is billed as the second actor in this movie, but he's literally in the movie for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got like
very-
4 scenes in the movie. They're huge scenes though.
Sure.
Like every time he shows up, it's very impactful to the story, but it's misbilling basically because you're expecting Sean Penn to be in so many different scenes, but he's not really. He shows up in the beginning, the middle, and the end, basically.
Yeah. A couple days worth of work, and that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he kicks it off. And then it's when his house is all I don't want to say ransacked because that's vandalized is probably a good word for it.
Mm-hmm.
That Sean Penn shows up again and advances the plot. And then you don't see him again really until the end. And I'm going to borrow a term from wrestling, but that false finish at the end, that really got to Iz. Izzy was watching that. She's like, oh my God, no. And then she's like, oh no. Oh, it's just like, oh, I see where they're going with this. And I'm like, no, you don't. She thought for sure that in let's say the end sequence,
sure.
She thought for sure it's like, oh, we're watching a goddamn Greek tragedy. And then the final scene happens and she came off the couch. Much like, she's like, what? Standing up, what? And I'm like, yeah. And I've just sat there. I enjoyed watching the end 15 minutes with her because, I mean, that's really where you get to that bottom of that twist tie is it's all getting unwound. And I'm just like, this is awesome because, no, you're wrong. No, you're still wrong. Well, one more. No, you're still wrong. It was beautiful. I'm really enjoying having this time to watch these movies with her because it's fresh eyes. That's why I wanted to wait for my wife. She had never seen it before. And unlike Seven, I don't think she'd deal with Seven very well. This one isn't as grim.
No, not at
dark
all.
is not. It's not as dark is not the right word. Grim might be a better word. Does that make sense?
Yes, it totally does. Yeah, Seven there was no literal. Oh, there was literal daylight, but no, there was no daylight at all in that movie. It was just.
Did you know that he was supposed to film this before Seven?
Yes.
Really?
But Brad Pitt became available, so he put this on the shelf because he's like, I got Brad Pitt. Let's do Seven.
Yeah. And
So
you know
he
what?
did that
Good
first.
choice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I read that. Good choice. He's like, okay, we're gonna go. I got who?
Okay, we got
Yeah, but you got Michael Douglas and Sean Penn. Fuck no, I got Brad Pitt and Morgan Freeman. Brad was hot as shit back then.
Well, he
Michael
was hot
Douglas
as shit.
Michael Douglas was bulletproof at that point. He's consistently solid work. And Sean Penn was like we mentioned, like he went through some stuff in the late 80s and early 90s where he was not being his best self off screen, shall we say. He had some controversies, some temper, some maybe some party time that spilled over.
Yeah.
But I mean, you go back and you see movies like this, you go back and you look at Sean Penn's body of work now, and then you go back and watch Fast Times. It's like, oh, he was brilliant in that. We just didn't know it because we'd only known him as Spicoli.
Yeah.
It's like,
exactly.
okay, he's just dumb surfer kid, right? He hadn't had the chance to flex. We hadn't seen him in. He was in Platoon, wasn't he?
I believe.
What was his?
Yes, I think it was Platoon. I don't know why Hamburger Hill's coming to my mind. No, he was it Platoon or the Thin Red Line?
Might have been both. You know what? If
Might have
only
both.
I had the access to the world's knowledge at my fingertips. So I'll let you guys dig into that in a minute.
The Google machine will tell
It's
you
the
everything.
Google machine. I do want to highlight his wonderful use of single piano notes in this entire movie for ambiance.
Yes.
It's just like ding ding ding, like it just hits so well, and it's played through the whole movie. It adds that dissonant sharpness to like make you kind of feel uncomfortable when you're watching a scene. So yeah, I think Fincher's musical style and choices in all of his movies are such an impactful part of the movie.
Yeah.
So he uses Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross a lot in his movies. I don't think he did it with
Yep.
The Game, or did he?
No.
Did he?
No, I don't think so.
I don't know, but I can tell you the Sean Penn thing now.
Okay.
Not only was he in Colors, which I'd completely forgotten about, it's Casualties of War
With
It's
Michael
and
J. Fox. Yeah.
where that was fantastic. Also, if you scroll down to his early career, right after Taps, he did something called The Beaver Kid, and if that doesn't just play into how he lived
Okay,
his
interesting,
life,
interesting.
The Beaver Kid too.
yes.
Yes.
So I mean, I'm the Beaver Kid. Okay. Oh wait, no, you are. Look at it. It's like an Eddie Murphy joke around here. Good for you. Yeah. So there we go. Sean Penn, Casualties of War with Michael J. Fox. That was the Vietnam
Yeah.
one that they did. So
What I wonder what the bill was. Remember the bill?
yeah, right.
I really want to know how much this
yeah.
whole setup cost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because do you want to split it? Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, thank God.
It's like, what's that? And it's like 2 inches thick, right?
But it's a
Of just-
booklet. It's like
yeah.
it's like you gotta flip open like what the
What's that? The bill. It's like,
yeah.
want to split it? Oh God, fuck yes, please.
It is interesting. Maybe I'm like I kind of jump into the part of
Yep.
the end here, but like I did find it fascinating when people are talking about what they were supposed to do if like plan A didn't work and there's contingency B and contingency C. Do you know what I mean? Like without ruining the end, it's like, well, this happened, but if this wasn't going to happen, I was supposed to do this to you. And
Yeah.
so
Now,
yeah,
it's in all it. So it's set up to drag you along. So you're thinking one thing, so they can set up a switch a lot of the times. I remember sitting in that theater, and you're thinking, okay, so this is turning into a standard action thriller when Christine turns on CRS, right? But a few minutes later, after another scene, he wakes up in a, it shouldn't, and that's not like he's buried, but he's in a coffin in a Mexican cemetery.
What's in the box? Sorry, man. I had to.
Fincher does like a lot of boxes. In his
He likes
movies,
putting
so-
things in boxes. That's what he
Yeah.
likes to do.
Oh fuck!
I will say
Fincher
this
and the
though,
Beaver
that
Kid.
the lawyer was never in on it,
No, the lawyer had no idea.
right? They had no idea. He's like, I don't know what this is, but
There are certain people in this movie that you don't find out to the end. You think, well, they got to be in on it. Nope,
No.
I had
Yeah.
no idea. They're just like, what the fuck is going on? All right,
did you notice that the guy in the airport that like motions to his pen is the guy that like runs
hands
the
him
whole
the
thing?
bill?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's like the head guy.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, I don't know if he's
Spoiler
the
for
head
anyone
guy,
that-
but he's definitely the one that
He's
hands
up
him
there.
the bill.
Well,
He's-
yeah.
well-
Usually you're gonna get it from like the manager or like the
At-
like the guy that's running the event is the one that will
At
present
the
the
at
bill.
the very least, he's accounts payable,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? Like he's like, yeah, just go give this motherfucker the bill.
Yeah, because you never actually do see who runs CRS. Do you think I kind of wanted to know to see who the higher power was that was like the brainchild of this
We don't-
entire.
We
But
don't need
it's fun.
to, though.
You don't need.
What
to,
if it
right?
was
Like,
Sean Penn? What if it was Conrad?
You know what? I
Then he
do
wouldn't be
say
paying for it.
the Conrad showing up in the middle of the movie
Mhm.
was like a really good swerve,
Mhm.
right? Because like I remember watching the first time and he shows up and I really bought into this whole thing as a disaster and it's not what it is.
Yeah.
Right. And then, you're all along, like it swerved me 100%.
Oh God, yeah. Like this, I would take Swerve Strickland's theme song from AEW and play it over the credits because it's just I swerve when I drive, and it's just swerve, and it's that's what the movie is. It's just no, we're going left. Okay, but we're going right down here. No, we're going right. Okay, I see where we're going here. No, you don't see shit. Like every time you think you have a handle on it, you don't.
And I think that's the highlight of this movie is that you can never figure out which direction you're going,
Mhm.
and you're constantly second guessing you're trying to be a smart audience member and trying to decipher it, because a lot of when you're watching a mystery or a thriller, part of the excitement is you figuring out what's going on and
Mhm.
seeing if you can figure it out before the reveal has happened. But every time you highlight on something and you think you figured it out, the movie goes nah,
Yeah.
that's not it, and you're just constantly being like, what I thought
Yeah.
what. So
No, like, well, I mean, that's really what the fun of watching with was. But also, I got when this came out on DVD, and it wasn't for a Christmas or a birthday or Father's Day or anything. But I got it and I gave it to my dad, and he was a little confused because we don't generally
Share
just
that
give
type of
gifts
thing,
to each
yeah.
other. I'm like, nope, this is for you. We're gonna sit down and watch it. And he's one of those guys like, oh, it's gonna be. And he's guessing the plot. And like he basically didn't shut up for the entire movie because he was.
But you've
trying to
already
guess
seen
where the
it,
plot
right?
was going.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm
Were
like,
you-
you just need to
Were you
stop.
constantly watching like Izzy's reactions to things
Yes.
too? Yeah.
Yes, 100% was. I sat in the corner of the sectional so I could take notes, and it wouldn't take much but an eye link to just look over, see what Izzy was doing, and then look up at the screen and take my notes. So like I positioned myself properly for that. It's the same thing
Yeah.
I did with Seven. It's probably the same thing I'm going to do with Panic Room because she's seen Fight Club. So,
Yeah.
so that being said, there is a point where Michael Douglas, and it's after the Mexico thing, is just a broken human being.
Oh yeah.
Just absolutely broken. I mean, you really see it as he's trying to get back from Mexico, and it really plays out. And it actually reminds me of another Michael Douglas movie, Falling Down.
I
when
was
he
just
gets
gonna say
carjacked,
that. Yeah.
right?
Different
And he
type
just-
of character,
he just-
but
he's
yeah.
like he's got like the Slim Jim to his throat, the crowbar thing, not the meat treat. And
It's
he's
been
just
so
like,
long since I've seen that movie.
what? Yeah, what was I'm extremely fragile right now, and he just puts the gun in the guy's face. He's like, I am in the wrong place. I'm leaving now. And I'm just like, that
I'll
was.
just be on my way.
So was that
that-
guy part of CRS or no?
I don't think so,
I don't think so either.
because I don't remember.
But you don't
seeing
you don't
him-
know.
You
right?
don't know.
Well, here's the thing: is there's also that one scene where they, he's got his hands back on Christine. No, that's not it. He gets his hands on Feingold, and he's making Feingold
At the zoo.
try to undo it. It gets him at the zoo,
Yeah.
and they walk into the cafeteria, and then you see all the players in there.
Yeah, that was a great
Right?
reveal, actually.
It was a
Yeah.
great reveal, including Mark Boone Jr. as the detective who looks up, sees him, drops his tray, and bolts.
Well, even the
Right?
two FBI detectives that were called in were part of it, right? So they're
Yep.
not real FBI detectives, right? The policemen, like so many policemen that were chasing him in cars, they're not part of it. The obviously the taxi cab driver was.
Yeah, because you saw the cab
Yeah.
driver. He's in there as well. But I mean, you have no doubts about him, no
Yeah,
doubts
pretty much.
whatsoever. But I don't remember
Well,
seeing
you
the
see his
carjacker.
ID that says CRS on it, so you're like, yeah, he's
Yeah.
obviously part of
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, but he's just like, okay, this is whole that yeah that
What
that
are you
scene
doing
in
on
the
set
cab.
today? I'm driving a cab into the water. Okay, cool. Have fun. Yep. No
No.
lines. Just driving the cab into the water.
Now here's something. Now at the end of the movie, Michael Douglas has a thing, and at this point, I mean, the fact that we've admitted a few times this is why we said earlier, watch this first, don't listen to us. He turns around, he asks out Christine at the end,
Oh yeah.
like flat out.
Get it,
asks her out.
kid. Get it,
And I'm
kid.
like, dude, you're asked it to me. It seems a lot like he's asking the hooker out for dinner. Like you know you were a job, right? Like no, the stripper is not going to give you a lap dance and then let you buy her lunch. Like
Okay. Okay. It's not. So she okay. He had a profound life experience through this entire event, and she was a major part of him doing through profound life experience.
Mhm.
So he's built like a subconscious internal connection with her, and there's an like having her say, "Oh, I found you attractive as well," was, you know, at the time you think it's a throwaway line, but like at the end,
Not to him it wasn't though. Like,
not to him. And then at the
he's-
end, you can tell like, maybe she was actually being honest when she said that, when she finds him attractive, right? And so because he's been so like, I totally bought it. Like he was so connected to her through his experience that like, how can you not be attracted? And you know, you've shared something with somebody and an experience that connected you to this person, you know, and your emotions were all over the place because you were breaking down in the process, right? And she was there with you to help you realize who you were. You know, she was the last person that basically he sees before the end of it. And I definitely like that she goes, come grab a coffee with me at the airport.
yeah, okay. So I mean that it did sort of play out like that, but to me, it's just like, bro, you're a job. Like this is awful ballsy, but you had a profound life experience.
Hey man,
She
you got to
had
shoot your
Thursday.
shot, bud.
Yeah.
You got to shoot
She
your
had
shot.
Thursday. You had a profound life experience. She's off to fuck with somebody else's life. She's already admitted this to you. He's like, I gotta go. We got another one to do, and I don't even remember. I've done so many of these, and she's got to be standing there at one point going, "Oh, fuck, I gotta, whatever. Maybe I get a free coffee out of this at the airport." Like to me, it's just like, dude, I don't have a profound connection with Sansa Stark because I watched her on TV, and to me, that's what that was. It's like, you're a mark, man.
I'm fine with it. I'm totally fine with it.
I'm good with
I
it.
think it's good. I think it would have been worse off if they like actually became romantic. I think just hey, do you want to go grab dinner sometime? You know, and then she's like, how about you drive with me to the airport? Like, I think that is enough to show that they are interested in each other, but you don't know. Like it would have been worse off if they like kissed, for example, before she went off. That would have been like, okay, that's a little far-fetched, right? But he shot his shot, and she's like, you know what, this guy is interesting, and I do think he's attractive. How about we see? How about we have a conversation, a real conversation? You know,
or was it
real?
This guy's worth $600 million. I might not have to work again.
No, you're looking at it too cynical. And
I don't even think the people
that's entirely true.
I don't buy that. I think the people that are part of this are doing it for an elevated reason, right? Because they move lives, they change lives for the better, right? So the actors that are part of CRS, like this isn't the first, like she's told you, this isn't the first job I've done. I've been doing this for way too many years. So how many transformations has she seen in people? And that is like a, you know, when you see people elevate to heal their soul, like that's an empowering feeling on somebody, right? So, you know, they all buy into the theory of it, right?
Get a bit of a god complex, right?
Yeah.
So well, I mean, the only
they're probably paid pretty well, honestly, I think.
We only have one legitimate person saying it's a profound life experience that changed my life, and that's Conrad. The other two guys that he talks to are plants.
Oh yeah, that's true. They are, yeah.
So, I mean, she admits to having done many of these. We know that. She flat out says it in the final scene. Fine. To me, it's just like, You went through a bunch of shit. She went through Thursday. You know what I mean? It's like, and maybe she just like, you know
Yeah,
what?
but she
Sometimes it
was
happens. Seb,
the major
you've
player
worked
in that.
you've worked at the bar long enough to know that, you know, sometimes shit happens. You know, you see a regular come in, same server, same bartender, whatever, and you get flirty and shit happens. I worked in the bar long enough to know shit happens. I may have participated in some of it. So, I mean,
I
but
will
at the
refrain
same
from
time,
commenting on my love
he's
life through the bar
having,
industry.
yeah, he's having, well, and it happens everywhere. I mean, I've worked a lot of years in
Yeah.
retail, and shit happens there too. It's just shit happens. It's just his experience is profound and life changing. She's just like, cool. I got to be on a plane in 2 days to go to Australia for the next one. Like,
Well, let me put it to you this way: because of someone that's so committed to the job, where are they going to meet people?
fair enough.
Like
That's the only place they can meet
as a
people.
lot of people, like I've worked in the bar industry for 20 plus years. So many people I know, including myself, has hooked up with people related to either working at the bar or coming into the bar, because that is the life that you know, that is the circle that you're a part of, and that's where people enter into your circle in and out, and that's how you connect to people. So
Yep.
so many
Oh, dude.
relationships have started from like kitchen staff dating front of house staff and whatnot through all of our locations. You know, it's just a natural, that's how you bond. You're
And
also bonding in a workplace environment, right? So you're going through stress together, you know, and that connects you to people. So
yeah, I mean, the coworker thing makes sense because I mean,
yeah,
again, retail, you know, especially the after Christmas parties at the mall when it's, you know, a bunch of different stores get together and do a fuck this. Or I mean, working in the theater system, a lot of Eskimo brothers there. I made a lot of Eskimo brothers in the theater system. So I mean, it happens, but it's the customer staff sort of interaction that's at play there, right?
yeah.
So I mean, I just thought it was ballsy of him because I mean,
I like it, but
I mean,
he's also
it worked. It seems to have worked.
he's also not in a position that he would have been in his life if he was uncomfortable basically heading into the fire, because he's an investment banker that has to make a lot of tough decisions and make and ask for a lot of things on a business side. So I don't think it's as far-fetched for someone of his stature in the movie, his character, to basically go, I'm just going to go after what I want.
Well, also
So,
yeah,
look at
fair
how
enough.
he treated her when she spilled the shit on him. He treated her like utter garbage, and then he's like, oh god.
I don't think he did. I think that, well,
Yeah, he did.
Yeah,
he did, but he didn't do anything.
But
like,
then he realized,
that was
he's like, oh
overly
god.
yeah.
He was
Well,
he was
a fucking
annoyed.
prick to anybody that's not on his
Sure.
level, and he's a fucking prick to anybody that's not on his level because
I
they're
agree,
not worth
but it's not
600
like
million.
it's not like he chastised her. He's just like, just get me some napkins. Like, he's annoyed because somebody spilled wine over a $10,000 suit, right? So, he, you know, like,
But how his
I'm not
perception
defending
changed.
his
No,
his
I'm just
actions
going
at all,
about
but
how his perception changed from like when the game started
Yeah.
till when the game was finished. He
Oh,
was,
absolutely.
you know, like the profile life thing. He sees people differently, and I'd be willing to bet if they went further, like 6 months down the road, he'd probably run his business a lot differently now. Be a lot more human
Yeah.
aspects to what he does.
It's very much a version of A Christmas Carol.
Oh,
He
absolutely.
needs to start out being a
The ghost of
tremendous
Christmas
prick,
past.
go through all of this, and then come out the other side a better human being.
I think they
It's
could have made him more of a
Scrooge.
prick, though, because they didn't. To me, he didn't seem like he was like a general asshole. Like, Conrad would tell him that he was an asshole, but he's to me, he seemed more like a closed off person.
I was
than
just
like a
gonna say
general
he's too
prick.
closed off to even to be an asshole.
So I think they could
Right?
have gone even further and to make him like a real asshole.
No, I don't. I think.
But then,
But
would it have been
then you run into the problem of the audience not being able to relate with the main character if you make him
Yes.
too much of a prick, right? So
Yeah.
I think they did a really good balance of like showing, yeah, this guy's annoyed by a lot of things. He's an asshole. Like he's a dick sometimes, but he's also a pained individual. So like because you see a lot of the references to his dad committing suicide at the beginning of the movie.
Mhm.
So it's like, yeah, he's going through some shit. He's closed off, and because he's closed off, this is the way he behaves. But I think Fincher does an amazing job of like humanizing him so that you're connected to Michael Douglas at the beginning of the movie. So yeah, I think they did it correctly. But like I don't think he's like he never to me came across as like a big asshole. Like I think he just came across as a businessman that likes things in a particular way, and if they're not in that vein, he gets annoyed by it. So he's a very particular individual. Don't sing happy birthday to me. Don't make me feel uncomfortable. This is the way
Well,
my
it's
directive
also he's the
goes.
same age as Dad was when he killed himself too. So it's
Mhm.
kind of
Yeah, that's a big thing too,
this
right?
is a,
Yeah.
40, and it's funny because he said he was 48 and we're 46, and I'm like, look, that
Dude,
fucking
what have
old
I done
dude.
with my life?
Right? Well, there's
I'm like,
it's
I'm a little under $600 million away from being right where he is.
but I'm just
He was
going on
older
how
than that when he did the movie, though.
he was
wasn't
53. I looked it up, but
Okay.
still, it was okay. Like we have these perceptions of what we look like, and I'm like, I don't
Yeah.
look that old. Like even though he's still 7 years older than me when he filmed it, it's
Didn't Michael
Seventy
Douglas
one,
like
I call him.
constantly look like he was in his 50s?
yeah. Well,
Like
now
even when
he,
he like
Yeah.
like he just always looks like that
Yeah.
old
Well, he went gray
American
young, right?
president.
he went
Yeah.
gray young, and if you look at him, he's almost 80 now, so his age has caught up with him. But
Yeah, but
Yeah.
he still looks basically the same. His skin just don't fit no more.
yeah, well, he looks just like his dad did too. Like his dad
Yeah.
was Kirk. He looked just like Kirk Douglas
Oh God, yeah.
forever, just more wrinkles, right?
Yeah.
He's
And,
born in
I mean,
44.
Kurt
Yeah,
made it
79.
to 100 or 101.
100 something anyway.
Like, fuck yeah. Kirk
Yeah.
Douglas, man. I don't know if you guys ever gone back and seen some of his old stuff. He was a bad mamma jamma back in the day.
Yes, he was.
That boy was a fucking killer.
Yeah.
So
He was a
one
very good looking man. He was 103 when he died.
103.
Yeah, he was born in 1916.
Jesus.
Died in 2020.
Wow.
Fuck.
Right? Like,
Oh.
and he must have good genes because Michael's been keeping up with Catherine Zeta Jones for like 20 some odd years, and that is good
She was-
for him.
She was a 69 baby, I believe.
I got one question.
Are we doing phrasing? Because yes,
No.
absolutely.
So I'll give you one question, then I think we should start to wrap this up.
Yep.
Would you want someone to get this experience for you?
Fuck no.
I mean, I've been through an experience like that, kind of. It's not to this level, but like I went to, a personal growth seminar for 7 days where they you in San Francisco, you live on a ranch for 7 days and you go through like a profound experience. They take your cell phone away, which is you sign off on it. So you have no contact with the outside world, which is intended because you're trying to break comfort connections that are keeping you from, shifting your life into other areas, right? So, having a connection, like it's about a 7 day seminar where you face like your fears, so to speak. So, some of the, like it's a bunch of exercises that you do. Some of the exercises you relate with, others you don't. So, I mean, for me, the fear of heights one was pretty big, and you have to actually do like, it's called rope day, where you have to do all these like elevated exercises. So one was to climb like a 40-foot telephone pole, like you're in a harness basically, but you have to climb it. And it's, it's not about if you can succeed, it's about where you're blocked in this particular exercise and seeing if you can get through it. So like there's an element where you'll get stuck, and I was stuck trying to get on top of the pole because I was 40 feet up in the air and I was just terrified. And at some point you just have the courage to, like, for lack of better terms, break through the veil of fear. And once you can like break through that, it just, the whole world opens up towards you, because then they're like, where else is this showing up in your life where you're scared to do something and you won't take the plunge? Because at the end of the day, the fear is so much more worse than the actual result of the fear, because your system is trying to protect you from being hurt, right?
Mhm.
But when you're okay to get hurt, when you're comfortable getting hurt, when it's okay because you're going to recover from it, that's when life really starts to happen for people, because you can take risks in life.
Mhm.
So I'm getting really deep
Wow.
here.
Seriously.
This is a fascinating. I did not know you've done this. This is fascinating. Whether we do a show on it or whether I just sit you down and
We should
grill
explore
you
this a
over
little more.
beers.
We could.
Yeah.
However, I do have a serious question about this. It's going to sound like I'm fucking with you, but it's not. How much peyote did you eat when you were there?
None. There was a bunch of people that were chronic that went on this retreat, and that was a very distinctive point. It's like, this is not about any sort of drugs. Like, if you do drugs, if we find out that you do any sort of drugs, we will kick you off of the thing. Like, this is an experience. The whole concept of this, like, you can go to seminars and you can listen to people speak and lecture, and that's why I kind of relate to this movie so much, because I've lived an experiential growth thing. You do not understand really internally by listening to someone speak about something. You understand it when you experience something on a deeper level.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
you can't experience a death in the family. Like, you don't know what it feels like
No.
until
Until
you
you've had a death in the
experience a
family.
death in the
I mean,
family.
I get
Right?
that, because I can and I have talked ad
We all
nauseam
have,
about
right?
how
Yeah.
much fun a certain vacation I take is.
The
But
Jericho
until you
Cruise,
actually
yeah.
go on this vacation, and I have proof, because I have taken people on this vacation, and they're like, listening to it and living it, two different things, coming back. So
Yeah, because experiencing something fully, like really experiencing it to a full effect, attaches yourself to the deepest part of your subconscious, and it will live with you for the rest of your life.
mhm.
Right. So there's memories in that experience. You'll never be robbed of that. Right. But if you tell someone, if you go to a Tony Robbins seminar or watch him on YouTube, like, yeah, he's impactful and motivational, but you don't experience what he's trying to connect with you with.
Mhm.
Right. So, yeah.
Yeah, so I can feel that. I want to know how you got out of the car after he drove it off the pier, though. But we'll talk about that some other time. Now,
What, Michael
there's-
Douglas?
Yeah, I
I-
figured that might be something they would have done to you at this thing, but I actually do
Wow,
want to explore
close.
that. But we are running a little over an hour. I got one last thing. I am going to have printed up for this unnamed vacation I'm going on the T-shirt at the end of the movie.
Oh,
the
I was
I was
drugged
drugged
in
and
the
left
box
for dead
in
and
Mexico.
survived.
or
All I
something.
got was the stupid T-shirt. I will be wearing that in January. I
wonder if
have a
people
friend
will-
that has a T-shirt press now.
Yeah.
I'm fascinated by it because I would like to start getting some merch going for us. And that is one of the ones I am going to make, along with the "I'm not Chris, but you're welcome" T-shirt, which I will be wearing probably 3 days at least.
I guess
'cause
we can't patent
that's
the good day how do one, hey?
No, I don't think so.
We probably get hit with a lawsuit on that.
I've thought about that.
We can't.
We'll
We
discuss
cannot. We
merch once I know
cannot.
a little bit more about this T-shirt press thing.
Sure.
Because yeah, I'm fascinated by it, and merch is rad, especially since this is not free.
No.
No.
So yeah, final thoughts on this, Mike.
I hadn't seen it in a long time, and it held up to me. It made me, like we talked, sort of think of things on a bit of a deeper level of just life and blah 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 and aging and just
Mhm.
the day to day, everything's the same, and you'd never break anything up or whatever. Breaking everything up is the wrong term, but just sort of shake things up. It's just we're going down the highway and the lines are just going past, and it just sort of I don't know. Thinking. I liked
Seb?
it.
This will be my closing thought. Being vulnerable in front of people is one of the most courageous things any human being can do. And if anyone tells you otherwise, they themselves are blocked with their vulnerability. Like really, really being open to people. It's just something I struggle with every single day, my entire life, because I'm a very closed off person, and it's been a big struggle through my life to actually open up and be vulnerable in front of people. But if you can do that, that is a very courageous thing to do, right? Because you're going out of your comfort zone. So don't be scared.
I think that's a very Gen X thing. I saw something on that the other day, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's the entire generation. I'll look it up and share it
Well,
with
I
you.
think
The
a lot of
closed
us
off Gen X generation. The
yeah, a lot of
grunge,
us
where we're
were
like in
raised
hoodies and just hidden over
yeah,
everything. Yeah.
not to show, just
Yeah, you
to
know what?
keep it close to the vest, right? We came from that
You know, how many
generation of
times did you hear as a kid growing up, oh, don't, well, I mean, forgive my language, but don't be a pussy. You know, like,
right? Yeah.
be a man. I'm like, what
Yeah.
does that mean to be a man?
Yeah.
That means you can't cry or you can't be vulnerable, like the bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, right? Like, yeah.
My cat
so-
is really going after.
Yeah,
herself.
as you were talking all
The
this
cat is
profound
just
deep stuff, the
sorting
cat's like
himself
licking his
out there.
crotch, going, "Yeah,
Get
this
her
is my
done.
profound
Yeah,
experience."
pussy. Fuck.
Oh, Seb.
I scared her. Anyways.
For me, this holds up. One of the reasons it holds up is it was at the dawn of cell phones, and it's not like a big brick that he's using. It's that flip phone.
Yeah.
And there's payphones everywhere.
There's payphones everywhere. But there's something about that transition between cell phones and hard lines that some films and TV shows, because of that transition, it becomes semi unrelatable. I mean, for us, we were like, oh yeah, no, it was just made back here. But when you show it to the younger generation, like sitting and watching it with a 15-year-old like I did, he's like, okay, well, there's cell phones. I'm like, I mean, sure, it's an old cell phone. I'm like, yeah, see, that was just, it's an old cell phone that was top of the line. That was had like, normally we just had the Nokia.
It doesn't even have call display on it. Like,
Right?
nobody, you don't know who's calling you. Like, you
Yeah.
just open the phone,
It
go
doesn't-
hello.
and that's what I explained to her. It's like you could store maybe 20 numbers in it. That's why he mentions, I got you on speed dial. I'll be speed dialing you. Most people don't understand
They
what
don't
that
even
is.
know what
'cause
speed dial is.
Everything is speed dial now. Literally. When was
Yeah,
the last time you punched in a phone number?
You just
I
talk to your
still-
phone.
not
Call
just
Matt
so-
I
Hart.
still
been-
try and do that to keep my memory sharp.
You know what? I
Never
would
thought
get
about
shit
that.
for it for years from my wife, because I was like, if you lost your phone, you wouldn't be able to do anything. No, I'd be able to
How
call
many phone
911.
numbers do you actually know? Like, I know
Dude.
my sister's phone number and the number to work and my own number. That's it. Off the top of my head, I do not know. Outside of those three numbers, I couldn't tell you anyone's phone number. I do not know it.
Work. Like, we all have cell phones there. I'm sure there's an office line, but I have no idea what it is. I know mine and my wife's, and I would get shit for this for years. Neither one of us has changed our cell phone number. Like, for me, it's been almost 20 years that I've had the same number, which is cool. It's great because you can always find your friends, right? You can just scroll through, hit the number, unless they're one of those people that's dodgy as shit and has to change their number all the time. But it was when we went, and we got back 5 years ago yesterday from our first set of cruises from our honeymoon stuff. Popped up in my memories, but it was filling out the tags for the luggage to get on the
What's
cruise
the phone
ship,
number?
because you have to fill out a name, address, phone number. Right. And so because we were gone for 2 weeks, we had a shit ton of luggage. So it was filling out her number all week long on her airline bags, on the tags for the first cruise ship, on the tags for the second cruise ship. It got it into my brain. So that's it. I know mine and my wife's. So at least now I'm not calling 911 to go, can you take me home, please? Like,
Yeah.
that's all there is to it. If that's it. I got mine, my wife's, and 911. That's all the phone numbers I have memorized. But it's just like I said, there's something about that flip phone was a little ahead of its time in 97. It's kind of like watching The Matrix in 99, where it's got that spring-loaded gimmick. And it's like you stored 20, maybe 30 numbers, and that was it. It made phone calls. You didn't have games. You didn't even have Snake back then. Right? And there was a lot of the times, if you're watching a movie or a TV show made back then, we're like, oh yeah, that's just the way life was. But like the younger generation is like, yeah, but can't he just, why does he need a quarter? Can't he just grab his cell? We didn't have cell phones back then. But this isn't, you said this wasn't what? I don't understand. It's like, it's not a period piece. Like, if they're watching a movie set back in the 70s and 80s. They considered a period piece. And let's not do the math on that because they're not wrong.
Nope.
Right.
they're
But
not.
it holds up. And I think a key to that is the fact that it was right on the cusp of cell phones functioning properly to what they are used to. Sure, they're not going to Google how much this movie made or what else Deborah Unger was in, but it's like, oh yeah, no, they're just whatever. The worst that you can say is like, why does he keep saying "call me on my cell phone" or cellular phone? It's
You
like
call me on
you
my
don't even
cell
you don't
phone.
even say that anymore. You don't say
No, you
"call me on
don't.
my cell." It's just, oh, give me a shout,
Yeah.
right? Like everybody's. I don't have a landline anymore. Do either of you?
Nope.
No, sir.
And you know,
There's no
and
point.
Mike, you would be the only one of the three of us that I would bet on because your kids are younger than mine. But at this point, they're also old enough that they're like, fuck it, give them a phone.
They've got phones.
Yeah.
Well, they take the bus to school, so we made sure they have to. They
Yeah.
have to just for communication, right?
And that's ours hit 8th. When you got to the 8th grade, you got a phone. That was what ours was.
Yeah.
Same reason, because I mean, you guys have seen my place. It's not a quick walk to school, and it's they're not dangerous roads, but they're not super safe.
No.
You guys have been in the neighborhood, you know.
Yeah.
You know exactly what I'm talking about. And it's nothing to do with neighbors or anything, although we got a couple of dodgy ones. It's just simply the way the streets are designed in a rural area.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I'm going to recommend that if you've gotten this far and put up with this, we tried our best not to spoil the actual ending of this film for you, even though you do know a couple of giveaways.
Yeah.
Sit down and watch this. It is worth
Such a good
absolutely
movie.
every second of your time. If you have seen it, go out of your way to show it to somebody new. You know, my 15-year-old got through it fine, I'd say, and there's really not much to it. There's not a lot of blood. There's not a lot of gore. There's not a lot of swearing. There's a little bit of sex, but I mean, it's all like
It's implied sex, though. You never see it.
blackmail
Yeah,
photos, right?
Yeah.
You don't see anything. There's no nipple in this. The nipple does not make one appearance.
Even though
So,
he does say something about
show
nipple
this to
rings, but
somebody.
Yeah.
What's that?
he does say something about nipple rings, but
Yeah,
there's
well,
like a
true.
line that he says about if I was wearing nipple rings or something. I can't remember what it is specifically.
That's true.
But
And like Michael Douglas in a nipple ring. Let's all sit and just think about that for a minute, shall we?
Yeah.
Okay, we're done. Show this to somebody. Absolutely.
so
I showed
good.
it
Watch
to
it.
I will probably sit down and watch it with my wife again just because it was this damn good. I love showing this film to people because you hear movies with big twists like Sixth Sense, like Fight Club, like Usual Suspects, and this one you don't hear about.
Yeah, it's very twisty. You're right, and it's just it's a really good mystery, really
Yeah.
good because you can never figure out what's going on.
I don't even know if it's that much of a mystery as more
Thriller,
of a mind fuck.
It's a thriller.
Yeah.
It's
Right?
It's
Like-
takes a lot of hats, takes a lot of
Because
boxes, I guess.
Yeah, you're told it's one thing, and then you're told it's another, and then you're led to believe it's another, and then there's a twist, and then you're back to thinking this, and it jumps around like it's a mind fuck movie. Because I mean, it's not like he's looking to solve a murder. I don't know. Mystery's not completely inaccurate, but I think mindfuck is dead on personally.
Definitely.
Yeah. So get your mind fucked, folks. Go find this. It's on Stars with a Z, not Star with that you find on Disney Plus. It's elsewhere. Stars with a Z. It's for free. It is worth every minute of your time. Show it to somebody.
Agreed.
That's all I can say. Show it to somebody that doesn't know. I posted that we were doing this, and a friend of mine said, "Oh my God, I just recommended this to somebody the other day." I'm like, well, I hope, Lisa, you sat down and watched this movie with them. And I'm looking forward to sitting down and watching another David Fincher movie. We will discuss what's coming up with that, but we'll have some more shows for you in between. And we'll let you know when it's time to sit down and watch another movie. Thank everybody for joining us. That was cool. Please remember, you can get into the comments on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook, and we'll show up here. We'll be able to put you up there. Everybody's been real quiet today, but I also have been watching our numbers, and you know what? I think a lot of people are going, yeah, maybe I'll watch the movie before I dive into this, because We said it at the top of the show. I said it in the show notes.
Go watch the movie first.
Watch it, or you are wasting one of the great film experiences. We'll catch you all next week. Good afternoon. Oh,
Good day,
and
everyone.
remember, in 31 minutes, observe a minute of silence for our fallen
Yes.
soldiers. It is Remembrance Day as we're doing this. Got a little overwhelmed with what we were doing and forgot to mention that. So happy Remembrance Day. Thank you to all of our veterans that served and to all of those that never came home.